Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Chris. I hope you're well and welcome to lesson 4. We've got loads of things to do today and I thought what I'd do to begin with is to pick up where we left off in our last lesson. You may remember that the last subject that we covered in lesson 3 was talking about how do you actually play higher up on the piano. Remember that I said that of course there are 88 notes here on the piano. But how do you actually try and map out 88 notes on music? And we were actually looking at two methods of writing high notes. And I thought what we did today is recount just one of those. Okay, so take a look at this on screen. Okay, now what I've done here is I have written out a very small exercise for you to have a look at. And together we're going to practice reading ledger lines. Okay, the ledger lines are those extra kind of like notches or literally extra lines that we put above or below the music so that you can actually extend upwards. Let me show you how it works. But before we do, let's treat this as a very simple rhythmic reading exercise. I want you to take a look at this and just clap the rhythm for me, okay? Fairly simple. Let's go straight into it. I guess the only thing to say is at the moment there are two empty bars, aren't there? Can you see that there are two whole bar rests there? So in those two bars, what we need to do is to count 4 beats, okay? So just clapping this, just as a bit of a warm-up, okay? Are you ready? Okay, we'll go straight into it. Ready with me, okay? So 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Okay. Well, I hope that made sense. So that's the rhythm. How then do you translate that into actually playing notes on the piano? Well, let's take a quick look at this. So you can see there that one of those notes on the ledger line is the A that we've got in bar number 1. We talked about that note in lesson 3. Okay, we found that one. So let's recap that first of all. Let's start off here with middle C. And we're going to go 1 octave higher to the next C above. And then we're going to go up to A above that one. So A is there. Okay, try that again with me. Ready? So go back down to middle C. Then we're going to go up to octave above C. And then once we're here, we're going to go up to A. Watch. C, D, E, F, G, and A. Okay, the fingering that you're using there is not necessary, really. It's not important. What we need to do is find that note A. That's the one that you can see in red on the screen. Okay. Once you've got that one there, the A, okay, we can probably work out everything else. Okay. I always like really to try and memorize where that A is on the music because it's the first ledger line up. So visually, it's quite a good one to try and remember. So, okay, if that's A, the first note that we need is going to be one step lower than A, isn't it? It's going to be not A, but it's going to be G. And notice how we've got a finger 1. So let's put finger 1 on G. And then looking ahead, we're going to go up to A. We've talked about that. After A, the next note is a step. That's a B. And then if you look carefully at that gap between the B and then the following note, you can see actually it's 2 steps, isn't it? It's actually a skip. We're not playing on the next line up, we're playing on the next sort of space up. So it's going to be D. And then D again. Okay, so here's the first bar. Have a listen to this. Okay, 1, 2, ready, go. So G, A, B, D, D. Okay, try that with me. Okay, put your thumb on G and here we go. Ready? I'm going to play G, A, B, D, D up there. 1, 2, ready, go. G, A, B, D, D. Okay, great. So then there's a whole bar rest. Okay, there's a reason why there's a whole bar rest. That's for later on. But let's skip on to bar 3 then. Okay, what's the first note in bar 3? Yeah, it's actually D, isn't it? It's the same note. It's the last note we've just played. It's D. And then can you see that all these notes are going step by step down? Okay, so D, down to C, down to B, down to A. Okay, and again, try and memorize that position of A. It's the first ledger line, okay, or the note that uses the first ledger line. Okay, good. Well, I hope that's made some sense. Of course, you probably find that that needs a bit of practice. And there's a reason why we're doing this, in actual fact, and that will become a bit clearer later on. So we'll come back to this, probably the last thing we do today. So after that, I hope you're warmed up and ready to go back to some of the music we've been studying together over the last few lessons. And I thought today what we would do is we're going to start off with Parsons Farewell. Now, have you managed to get your ABRSM Grade 1 book yet? If you haven't, don't worry, you can still follow today's lesson, but it would be ideal if you have, because as we progress, it will be probably easier for you if you do have either the printed book or you can go onto the ABRSM website and download a copy of the music there. So let's have a quick look then at Parsons Farewell. There it is, got it eventually. And last lesson, I set you a small task to do in the left hand. We briefly went through it, and then I said, okay, it's over to you. And it looked like this on screen. So, to talk you through it then, we're going to put our third finger on D at the beginning here, okay? And how are we going to play this? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll play just the left hand, and then we'll go through it bar by bar. So I will play it slower this time. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 4, 2, 2. So the rhythms there are fairly straightforward, would you say? Pretty much, but it's the fingering, okay? So let's just go through those notes bar by bar. Going back to the beginning then, we're going to put third finger on D, and the first bar does this. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, try that with me, okay? 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Great. Okay, let's go on to the next bar. Now the thing with the next bar is, can you see we've got a thumb on E? So that means we're going to have to reposition our hands slightly when we get there, like this. Okay, so bar number 2 does, let's keep a fourth finger on C. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, did you see my fingers just move slightly there to get my thumb on the E? Let's keep going. And we need, for bar number 3, a third finger, look, on F. There we go. So let's try bar 3 and bar 4, okay? 1, 2, ready, and F, G, and A, and A. Okay, so I'll play the whole of that line, okay? And listen to it or play with me if you like, and then we'll do it one more time. Okay, going back to the beginning. I've got your third finger on D. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, good. Again, fingering is the main challenge there, particularly moving from bar 2 into bar 3, yeah? So you've got to be ready with that third finger on F when we need it. Let's do that one last time, okay? One last time. Back to the start. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, so I hope that's helped. Okay, that's hopefully how the left hand should be sounding for you at home. Now the right hand of that section we've already studied, but just so you've got a fresh version of it, okay, I'll play it for you, okay, and perhaps you'd like to play it along with me, okay. So we're going to use our fourth finger on F in the right hand to start it, and here's our beginning note. There we go. Okay, so are you ready? Let's just try this just the once from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. Okay, great. All right, so well done. And a bonus point for you if you actually manage to think about the phrasing. Remember last week we talked about phrasing and articulation? So you may need to go back to lesson 3 and have a little look at that as well. But I hope that's helped so far. But of course, we also last week discussed how to put things together. So you've got your right hand, and you may just about be getting your left hand ready. And do you remember there were 2 techniques that I sort of mentioned last time? I said what you could do if you've got a digital piano is you could record one hand, say you record the right hand, then play it back, and when it's playing back, you could of course play the left hand. So you're hearing both parts, but obviously only playing one at a time. That would be the sort of middle ground between playing separate hands and playing with both hands together. The other thing you can do is you can cover up all the music except one bar. So for example, if I just cover up here everything except that first bar, I can then focus in on playing that first bar hands together, and I would do it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it was really slow, but it has to be. And if I was practicing that properly and I had a bit more time, I would make sure that I repeated that. I like to do it 5 times in a row. If I can do it 5 times in a row, the chances are I do know that particular bar, and I can move on to the next one and work through it. Okay, and try not to do too much in once. You may find just 1 or 2 bars in one session is plenty. Okay, but there is another way of doing it, and I did mention it last week. I said that the ABRSM have a practice app, and I promised that on my iPad I would show you the ABRSM Practice app. So I thought I'd do it today. So I've got it hopefully preloaded here on my iPad. Here it is, okay. And it's a free app, okay, to download. You can get it for iOS devices. I've got a feeling it might be also available for other platforms, but it's worth checking. I'll put a link in the description of today's video. But what you can do is then you can pay to download recordings of the pieces. It's not a huge amount of money. I think this one cost me £1.99 for this recording of Parsons Farewell. And have a look, listen to this. I've linked this iPad to my piano. This is a fantastic instrument. It's got Bluetooth, so I can wirelessly hear music from the iPad through my piano. Watch this. So let's put that here. Have a listen to this. Look.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Well, really, really good. So you get to hear how it should sound. But the best part about this is that I can slow it down, and I can also just hear one hand at a time. So let's say, for example, I wanted to practice that left hand. Let's just hear the right hand. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, maybe a little bit slower. Yeah, okay, let's try that. So let's run it back. And now I can be ready to play with my left hand. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
go. What a great practice tool. I wish I had that when I was growing up, because that would have made practice so much more fun. Okay, so good luck with Parsons Farewell. Let's move on now to Salley Gardens. So I'm going to play Salley Gardens from the very beginning, but what you see on screen here, of course, isn't the start of the music. You may remember at the beginning, it starts really just with the right hand. If you're lucky enough to have an acoustic piano or a piano like this, which is digital but still calculates what we call string resonance, those extra sounds, you can actually begin with both hands. If you hold down C, G and A silently and you begin to play, listen to this. Isn't that lovely? That's string harmonics, okay? Now, not every electronic piano or keyboard does that. And if you have one that doesn't do it, there really isn't very much point in playing those silent notes because you won't hear anything. So I've said, let's not worry too much about those notes. We're sort of going to begin just by playing the right hand. But if you have a piano that does it, of course you can hold those three down. I'm going to do it, but you can just practice the right hand. So from the beginning, and I'm going to play all the way up to bar number 9. Now on screen you can see bar 5 to 9, okay? And hopefully by now you've got some idea of how some of that should go together, okay? Have a listen to this. One, two, three. Okay, isn't it lovely? It's a lovely, lovely arrangement of that one. So that's as far as we've got with both hands together. Okay, now take a look on screen at the next part of what we're going to do, because I would like you to have a look at this on screen. Now, if you've got the music available, have a look through and see if you can find notes that look a bit like this. And if you haven't, don't worry, because I'm going to tell you what they are. So you can see here that we've got 3 notes stacked on top of each other. Well, what does that mean? Well, essentially, it means that we're playing all those together as a chord, okay? A chord is a group of 2 or more notes. This particular chord is a 3-note chord. Technically, that's called a triad, but we can just call it a chord, a group of notes. And what are those notes? Could you work them out for me? Well, the answer is we have an A, we have middle C, and we have E, like that. And there are the 3 notes that we're going to need. So let's just try playing those and have a look also at the fingering, a little bit different from what I've just played. What we do need is finger 4 on the lower note, A, finger 2 on C, and finger 1 on the top note, which is an E, another ledger line, okay? So that's an E there, okay? So try this for me, finger 4 on A, finger 2 on middle C, and finger 1 on E. Notice how we're in the F clef, okay? And we're going to play those 2 chords together. How many beats should those chords be held for each time? Yep, 2 beats each. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, we're going to do this together. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, are you ready? Let's try it. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's great. Okay, now the reason for showing you this is because today I'd like you to have a look at the next part of the music, and of course we're going to do it separate hands. Okay, so Let's first of all take a little look at the left hand. Okay, it's here on screen for you. Okay, now if you do have the music book, I am actually playing from bar number 9. Okay, bar number 9 is, if you look at the second line down, it's the final bar of the second line down. Okay, bar number 9. It starts with a rest and then a G. Okay, but it's here on screen. First of all, let's treat this as a rhythmic reading exercise. So don't worry about what the notes are on the piano. Doesn't matter. Let's just try and clap from left to right. Okay, have a little look at that. Shouldn't be anything there that we haven't seen before together. Okay, let's try it. Ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, great. Well, I hope most of that, if not all of it, made sense. So that's the rhythm, and let's now try and work out what these notes are. So let's try. How many bars we got here? We've got 5. Let's take 2 bars at a time. Okay, we've already practiced one of them, haven't we, with the chords? So the first note we need there, I've put the F line in just to remind you. Okay, we're in the F clef. So the first note there you should find is 1 step above the F clef. So it's going to be a G. So let's try and work this out then. So we're going to play from the beginning. I'll play it for you. Have a little look and a listen, and then maybe you can try and play it with me. Okay, really slowly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do it another couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. G, A, B, chord, and chord, and. Okay, one more go, then we'll go on to the next bars. Here we go. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Okay, right. Well, moving on to the next bar. The next bar, you probably have noticed that it's a single note and it's an E. It's actually the remaining, or the top note of the previous chord, isn't it? Okay, there's an E. We carry on to the next bar with E. So that's simple. Just put the thumb down, play it 3-beat note. E, 2, 3. We can do that. Let's pull that in then. Okay, so from the beginning of this excerpt, let's play from the beginning right up to that 3-beat note on E. Are you ready? Let's get 5th finger on G. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. Okay, great. Now I'm going to show you how the next part goes, and I'll leave it up to you to practice. Okay? So again, the most important thing is we've got a finger number 1, to play. And what's that note? Yeah, it's a middle C, isn't it? So it tells us to move our thumb. Remember how our thumb used to be on E? We've just finished up there. We're going to have to move down now to playing thumb on C. And then the remaining 2 bars does this. Have a listen. 1, 2, ready, and. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Like that. Okay. So yes, I finished there in bar 13. Okay. I'm going to play the whole thing, so you have an idea of what you should be aiming for when you're practicing. So from the beginning of this excerpt. 1, 2, ready, play. 1. Okay, And notice, of course, there are some curvy lines, there are some phrasing marks there. Try and see if you can observe those as well. Okay, well, good luck. There's certainly lots there to keep you busy, that's for sure. Do you remember this at the beginning of today? The ledger line exercise? And I said I would reveal as to why there are empty bars in the exercise. Well, it's because I only showed you half of it. Okay, here it is for two hands. Now, all right, so a couple of things to explain. Have you noticed how there are two G clefs in this piece? There's the one for the right hand, but the left hand doesn't play with the F clef. It plays with the G clef, which is slightly unusual, although you do tend to find that occasionally, particularly in pieces like this. And this is the piece we started last week. It's a fantastic piece by a composer called June Armstrong. And here it is. June has written this lovely piece called Sunlight Through the Trees. I'll show you it in just a second on screen, a little bit of it. But it actually uses the very high registers of the piano. So we're going to practice reading high notes with this little exercise first. This is going to help you with the piece of music. Now, let's take a quick look at the left hand. It's in a G clef. And also, before we begin, have you noticed there's a sharp sign next to the G clefs in both hands? That's called a key signature. And if you work it out, that's actually on the F line. So that means that for every F that we read in the music, we don't play the white key F, we play F sharp. So in other words, F sharp, for example, could be, well, let's play this one, this note here. This is F sharp. Here's F. Here's F sharp. Okay. So take a quick look at that, and can you see any F notes in that excerpt? Yeah, there is one. It's for the left hand, and it's the last bar. There it is. Okay. So when we get to that last bar, we're going to be playing. Can you work out what those notes are? The notes are G, F sharp, and G. All right, so let's talk you through this exercise. Now, you know the first bar? It started with a thumb on G, didn't it, up here? So, you know. Then I'm going to read my left hand for the next bar. And what's that first note? Remember, this is G clef, not F clef, G clef, but played with the left hand. Okay, so it's G on the G line, isn't it? Here we go. Oh, it's an echo. So let's play the right hand and the left hand. You can either try and play this with me or just watch for now, but do practice this. 1, 2, ready, and. And then bar 3 we did before. That started with the 5th finger on D in the right hand. And then the last bar is thumb on G, F sharp, G. So here's the whole thing. 1, 2, ready, and. And there we go. Okay, so in that exercise we explored reading G clef for the left hand, not F clef, and we also read things and practiced things in a different way. That was with both hands together straight away, and that was deliberate because I think this next piece that we're going to play together works better if we change our technique. If we don't do right hand then left hand separately. Okay. Let me show you why. This is the first few bars of Sunlight Through the Trees. Now, hopefully, that won't look very different to the exercise we just did. And unfortunately, we don't have time to go into huge detail on that, but what I will do is explain a few things about what you see. First of all, the first bar. Okay, well, the key signature is the same as the exercise we've just done. That was, of course, deliberate to get you into that thinking. So the first bar here, we've got G and D in the right hand, and in the left hand, we've got a thumb on F sharp and a fifth finger on B. Here we are, okay. And notice how we're going to play the right hand on beat number 1. The left hand begins on beat number 2. It goes 1, 2, 3. That's a lovely sound, isn't it? Huh? Listen to this. Okay, now in the next bar, it looks the same, but it isn't. Can you see those little square brackets, dotted square brackets? They're ottava markings. We did that last week, and can you remember what that meant? Well, it actually means that you play the same notes but an octave higher. So instead of playing them here, and notice how the phrasing, or the timing, rather, the timing is different. Look how we've got a 2-beat rest in the second bar. Look at that. And also, the position isn't where we need to be. We need to be up an octave. So we're really going to go up high for this bit. We're going to go up here. Maybe if I play the first 2 bars, okay? So from the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice how bar 3 is the same as bar 1. So we go back again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the final bar there is notes we've already been doing, but just played individually as quavers. So it's going to begin here with a 5th finger on D. Like that. Okay. So the notes we need there are D, B, G, B, F sharp, D, B, and D. So here's the whole thing from the beginning, and see if this week you can be working on this, okay? 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, so it's starting to sound like a really lovely piece, isn't it? Well, that's all from me this week. But before we go, I thought I'd invite another special guest on our little sessions together. And remember last week I said that I'd really like to encourage you to think about maybe the possibility of putting all this hard work to use and entering into a ABRSM performance exam. Well, when you mention exam to most people, it's probably not the most relaxing and enjoyable prospect. But I'd like you to try and convince you that that is probably quite far from the truth. Exams can be really rewarding. And I thought, what better way, really, to explain this in more useful terms than to invite someone on who is a music examiner. So we have Russel, who's going to join us right now, who's going to tell us a little bit more about why do a music exam? Russel, it's over to you.
Hello everyone, it's great to be with you today. My name is Russel Hepplewhite. I'm a composer, pianist, teacher and ABRSM examiner. In all my musical activities, I've always been keen to work not just with professional musicians, but with learners, because I find their enthusiasm and their interest in music making truly inspiring. Today I want to talk to you about why an ABRSM music exam might be helpful and useful to you, and why it might be something you might want to consider taking in the future. An exam can be a goal or target to aim for and can be truly motivating. Working to a carefully structured syllabus that's been put together by experts who know how to pace the different challenges of learning an instrument. The exam itself is an opportunity to show off the fantastic work that you've been doing and to take pride in it. So often as learners, we don't get much of an opportunity to share our work, perhaps to anyone other than our teacher. So this is an opportunity for some fresh feedback. The feedback will be clear, concise, and supportive and encouraging. It's going to be written by a rigorously trained and highly skilled musician. Every single examiner at ABRSM wants to nurture and support learners. We want people to find our exams a positive experience, so we put huge effort into creating syllabuses that are relevant and helpful to people as they travel along their music making journey. Now, you might have this impression of examiners as stern or people who want to somehow pour scorn on your hard work. Well, that's absolutely not the case. We love music and we want you to share in the joy that music making can bring. We're kind and fair and we work to a very clear and understandable criteria. There really are no catches. We simply describe what we're hearing, the musical outcomes, so that you can take our feedback and use it to help you improve in the future. Now, we offer many different exams. Our graded exams are our best known. These have been around for a very long time and they're hugely popular across the world. But today I want to introduce you to our newest exam, the performance grade. I'll be giving you some more detail about this next week, but it could be the sort of exam that's right for you. So you learn 4 pieces, and I'll tell you where those pieces come from next week. But once you've learned your 4 pieces and you're ready to take your exam, at a time that suits you, you simply record yourself playing the 4 pieces in one take, and then you send the video off to ABRSM, and then soon after you'll get the feedback and marks sent back to you. There's really nothing to be nervous about. You do this exam in your own home or your teacher's house at the time that suits you. I hope this has been really interesting. I look forward to talking some more next week. But in the meantime, if you want any more information, please do visit ABRSM's website.
Thanks, Russell. And I really like the new approach to the ABRSM performance exams. I think that's going to appeal to so many people. I wish I'd had them when I was studying music. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today. It's certainly been a real pleasure going through some music with you. And I'll see you next time. Take care and bye for now.